So a short time back, over near the fence line over there, I removed a rather large pine tree that had been growing for many years. It was casting quite a bit of shade over a large portion of the food forest back here. Wanted to open that area up, allow more sunlight to come in and penetrate, creating more photosynthesis for the other plants that are growing and getting established back here. And at this point now, what I'm going to be doing is dealing with the actual stump of the tree. Now, many folks believe that taking down the tree is the easy part compared to getting rid of a stump. And I, for one, am not very excited at the idea that that little stump right there could possibly take more work and effort than taking down the whole tree, which actually wasn't all that much work. But I'm the type of guy who's going to try to find the most efficient, low-cost, easy way to get things done. And so I'm going to put a particular method to the test here. I'm going to document the whole process, bring you guys along. So quickly, before I discuss how it is I'm going to go about attempting to take this trunk out, let's go over your different possible options. So the first and probably most common way to get the trunk out of your yard would be to call a contractor up, somebody in the landscaping business or an arborist, and they will use a big commercial stump grinder, and in a couple hours time they'll probably get that entire stump removed, leaving any roots that are under the ground completely dead so that nothing's going to sprout back up. Another technique is to actually rent the stump grinder yourself. In most cases, from what I've seen, the ones that you're going to be able to get because you're not insured and licensed and all that is going to be a much smaller machine, something that may take you many, many hours to get the stump ground down to the point where it's not viable anymore. Now, there's a third technique for removing these stumps that I've seen quite a bit of information on, but I haven't seen any follow-up videos or anything that shares with you the whole process and showing it actually work, and that is using Epsom salt. Now, Epsom salt is going to help to pull out the moisture from the stump, making it very brittle and decompose, and you'll just chip away at that bit by bit as it continues to break down with a pickaxe or some like object. And over time, it's going to take a bit longer than these other methods, of course. It might take up to a year or possibly even more, but you'll get to the point where whatever's left of the stump after you've chipped away at it a few times, you could literally just pull out of the ground. So that's what I'm looking to accomplish. And the way we're going to do that is by drilling a bunch of holes in the stump and filling it with the salt, and then covering it with a tarp to prevent it from getting any rain in there, which will wash away the Epsom salt. So there's two common ways you'll be able to locate and purchase your Epsom salt. This bag on the right here is being marketed as a plant nutrient because Epsom salt is actually a magnesium sulfate, both of which have applications in the garden helping to remedy deficiencies in your soil, which can sometimes be identified by yellowing of your leaves and such. But you can see here at the bottom of the package it also says use in bath salts as an exfoliant. And that's where you'll commonly find this other bag here, which is found at your local drugstores or discount stores. You can get these bags 4 pounds really cheap. This actually ends up being the much better value, and they're the same exact product. And by the way, I didn't just remove the pine tree, but I actually replaced it. I've got a pawpaw tree getting established here. This tree will not grow as tall as the pine tree. It won't be as widespread. So whatever shade is cast by this tree is going to be a lot less overwhelming. So a few days back, I had mentioned how I was working on a project, had some setbacks, some technical difficulties, and unfortunately couldn't get that footage up for you guys. Well, this is that project, and this is the first stump that I was working on. Let me show you what it's looking like right now. You can see I've got some salt buildup on top here, a little bit of salt around the base of the trunk, and many little holes, which were filled with salt and then a little bit of water. And I was actually able to get the project done, but the problem was that I was using the wrong tool. This drill here that I was using, which is only a 3 amp, was way too light duty for this type of a project. I was just overworking the drill big time, and actually the bit got stuck a couple times into the trunk. And like I said, even though I got this thing fully done, it was a lot more work than it should have been, and there's just no way I could have posted that using the wrong tool as a tutorial. But I'm still sharing this information with you guys just so you don't make the same mistake I did and instead get a better drill. So I went ahead and ordered up one of these pistol grip DeWalt hammer drills. This is a 10 amp drill, It's got the nice handle on there for added stabilization and control, and this is much more powerful. So this is what I'm going to be using today. And this drill bit that I'm using is a DeWalt 7/16 inch. This is about 12 inches long. You're going to want to use a long drill bit so that you can get way down into the base of the trunk. 5 or 6 inches isn't going to cut it. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to drill a series of holes all around this trunk about 2 to 3 inches apart. I'm going to then backfill those holes with the Epsom salt and add just enough moisture to fully saturate the salt. Don't want to wash it away or wash it off of the trunk, but just get it nice and moist. I'm also going to put salt all around the base of this trunk. Now, if I had plants really nearby with root systems that were growing out this way, I'd be more careful about that, as too much of this magnesium sulfate will actually be detrimental to plants. But I'm probably going to put the majority of the salt around the stump on this back end where there's no plants growing. On this side with this newly planted pawpaw, I should be okay, just sticking right next to the trunk. But between those holes filled with salt and the salt around the base, this is really going to do an excellent job helping to pull the moisture out of this stump and just expedite the decomposition process. And depending on what type of tree it is you cut down, many trees will actually start to send out shoots from the actual roots of the trunk. So this should also stop that from occurring. So the best technique that I've found that works so far is to drill down a couple inches at a time, and with the drill running, pull the bit out, let those wood shavings come out of the hole, and just keep working it in and out. That drill worked very well, did so much better than the last drill. We've got some nice deep holes now all throughout the trunk. I'm just going to go ahead and fill those holes with the Epsom salt. I'm just going to move that excess Epsom salt around the base of the trunk. I'm going to use this whole 4-pound bag here. So we got some salt around the base of the trunk. And then, like I had mentioned before, to activate this salt, what we really want to do is give it a little bit of moisture just to saturate it, not enough to wash it away. Then we're going to cover this with a tarp so that any incoming rains, like what we're getting right now, don't actually wash away all the salt from the trunk and the holes. And that should do it right there. Now to cover this, you can use a tarp, a garbage bag, whatever. And I've got one more tree trunk that I'll be treating the same exact way, and I'll be following up with videos, sharing with you guys the results. In a few weeks I'll come by, take the covering off, and probably add a little bit of salt in there, fill up the holes, sunk down a little bit, and that's the only maintenance I'll do. Other than that, it's a waiting game. This is a prolonged effort. So if you're looking for a really quick remedy, this is not going to be for you. If you're looking for a low cost, cheap and easy way to remove a stump, this might just be the ticket. Anyway, I sure do hope this technique works, and if anything, I hope you found this video helpful or entertaining in some way. If so, I sure would appreciate a like, and if you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. New uploads and updates on all the different projects going on every single week on this channel, so I'd love to have you along. Until next time, this is Dan from PlantAbundance.com, wishing you a great rest of your day. Take care, I'll be talking to you again soon.